Hi everyone, Chasthony Chad Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it is time for a review of the new Armand Hammer record, Shrines. This is a brand new LP from experimental and abstract hip-hop duo Elucid and Billy Woods for the fourth time around as Armand Hammer. These two, in my opinion, continue to have one of the most interesting dynamics in hip-hop duos today. They are also fresh off their most well-received record to date, Paraffin, in 2018, which created a rush of positive attention that I'm sure led to the impressive feature list on this record. Earl Sweatshirt, Quelle Chris, Pink Sifu, Moormother, Rap Ferreira. But the fame seems not to have changed Billy Woods and Elucid, at least not in an obvious way, since on the fourth record here, Armand Hammer's style is pretty well established at this point. Left field instrumentals topped with Elucid's relentless flows, grim, cold-blooded delivery, and some abstract lyricism. Then from there we have Billy Woods, who in my view is one of the most underrated rappers working today. With his trademark combo of shouting, ranting, and rapping, he's been responsible for some of the darkest humor and soul-crushing storytelling I've heard over the past decade or so. For the most part, I knew what I was getting into going into this release, but somehow Armand Hammer still managed to squeak out their most indirect project yet. And I think a major key to this change is in the production. This is not a track list of dour bangers in the way that Paraffin was. The instrumental palette this time around is a lot dustier, a lot messier, occasionally spacey, psychedelic, eerie too. The track titled after legendary dub reggae producer King Tubby is an intimate loop of dramatic, distant, washy and dreamy piano chords, guitar, pitched vocals, disorienting sound effects. Then there's the very otherworldly Pommel Horse, which features all these layered, space-age tones backed by a chunky beat and an intergalactic refrain from Curly Castro. When the moon and the planet and the stars collapse, collapse, collapse. Then there's Leopards, which features this grimy and jagged combination of stuttering bass and strung-out guitar. Then the beat on the track Charms sticks out as well for sounding like a flip of some Southeast Asian drum and flute jamming or something, I'm not sure. Either way, I love that the beat is equal parts tense and tranquil. I guess I should note though that even with this being one of the moodier releases in the Armand Hammer canon, there isn't a whole ton of aesthetic consistency among these instrumentals. Every once in a while there is a beat that does strike me as one-dimensional in the same way that much of the production on 2017's Rome was, like with the very tight loop of gently wailing reeds and primal drums on the track War Stories. But generally speaking, this record is still a much more vibrant listen with even some multifaceted songs in the track list. Frida, featuring Quelle Chris and Fielded, is a woozy, warped, slow-motion piece of jazz rap with an epic beat switch in the last leg. And Ramses 2 also features another vocal passage from Fielded just as we transition into a smart closing verse from Elucid. Life is anything but static, supreme mathematics, repeating numbers, cycles, patterns, summers, winters, starting later, ending faster, babble question, chaos answered, wave reflected, all direction. Which I suppose if you are going to go a little lyrical miracle with it, you should also go numerical. Still though, generally the lyricism on this project is great. It is bleak, it is dark, it is heady, it is sharp, it is cynical, just as most of Armand Hammer's lyricism is. Just a sampling of some of the many bars from Mr. Woods that stuck out to me on this LP. Optimistic as a prostitute's wish list, kids are all right, what he told the missus, baby in the reeds, keep him from the Egyptians, if she never has a seed, they gonna be suspicious. So in this one batch of bars, we already had that incredible dark comedy mixed with this reflection on the underbelly of society with all sorts of religious lore. The intro lines to the track King Tubby stuck out to me as well. Elucid has some really killer lines on the track too. Handsome gun, a mnemonic picture so you frame the logic, your mind the greatest weapon but your heart the biggest target. Marksman, I devour from the lands of time forgotten, power, power, power on the minds of those without it. Cowards in high places refute this world is ours. Loving also his intricate poetics on the track Flavor Flav, where him and Billy go back and forth conceptually with these verses dealing in time and the progression of such. There is a lack generally, though, of this kind of topical or conceptual focus on this record from track to track. I mean, there are highlights like the Eucharist, which feature a lot of religious nods, and also Parable, where you do have that hook Parable of three different verses, 3 different stories or personal accounts coming from those verses. Having said that, though, the respective writing and rapping styles of Billy Woods and Elucid continue to be 2 of the most unique out there today, and both of them are consistently writing forbidding bars about one's struggle against a broken world or a broken self, and that is really enough to make this a cohesive listen. Never mind the interesting narrative tie-ins with things like the front cover over here and all manner of different vocal snippets and transitions from track to track or section to section within a song. The last point I'll make is the features, which you usually don't get this many on an Armand Hammer record. They are a bit of a mixed bag, with Pink Sifu as well as Earl Sweatshirt sounding so comatose in their deliveries they suck the wind out of these already low-key songs. There's also Quelle Chris too, who generally I'm a pretty big fan of, and even though his performance on this thing is eccentric, it's also pretty syrupy and leaves a bit to be desired. That being said, there are still great performances here from Rap Ferreira, Nosage, Moormother, who I think has the best guest verse. All things considered, while this may not be my favorite Armand Hammer project, I still think it's another quality release from the duo, and easily one of the best abstract hip-hop offerings to come out this year. Feeling a strong 7 to a late 8 on this project. Tran, Zishin, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Armand Hammer, forever.